Hello, welcome to Chart Talk 2012. My name is Matt Richard, Vice President of Mighty Oak Technology. In this presentation, we'll be going over Meaningful Use 101, the 3 easy pieces to help you and your clinical staff use Chart Talk to successfully demonstrate meaningful use of an electronic health record. When we begin talking about meaningful use, you'll see that there's a lot of information available. Some of it might be confusing to you because these are all going to be new requirements for what you and your clinical staff are talking to your patients about, information that you receive from the patients, and different functionality that is required from your electronic health record. You'll see in the beginning that some meaningful use measures are more important than others. What I mean by that is that they're required for high percentages of your entire patient population you see during the reporting period for meaningful use. And when we talk about reporting period, what we mean is the amount of time that you need to report to Medicare of when you were demonstrating meaningful use of your electronic health record. The first year that you demonstrate meaningful use, you only have to demonstrate it for 90 days. The reason this is because you're implementing a lot of new processes, forms, and other functionality within your clinic. For all subsequent years that you participate in the program, you will have to demonstrate meaningful use for an entire year. So some of the meaningful use measures that are more important than others are the medication lists, problem list, medication allergies, smoking status, and patient demographics. All of these are required for 50% or greater in your EHR. With Chart Talk, we've taken all that information and put it right on the front screen called the patient synopsis screen. So you'll see here, your initial screen has an overview of the patient with their demographics, latest vital signs, medications, problem list. If we were going to go to a patient that didn't have all this information, you click on synopsis and you'll see any meaningful use information that's missing shows up red. So for this patient, they don't have a smoking status, medications, or allergies. We'll go over how to put the medications and allergies in a separate video later on. But let's just go over the smoking status. So most of all of this information is available on the Medical Information tab of the patient. Click on Medical Information and Vital Signs, and here you see we've got blood pressure, height, weight, BMI. The BMI is automatically calculated when you put the height and weight in inches and pounds respectively. Let's say we'll take the smoking status and we'll just say this patient never smoked. Once you change information in their record, go in and just click Save. And you'll see a data entry was recorded for this patient on this day. No information besides the smoking status was entered. When we go back to Synopsis, you'll see that the smoking status is no longer red. So these prompts are in Chart Talk specifically to help you and your staff divide the amount of work that it takes to put this information in and successfully demonstrate meaningful use. So you can help pass around the requirements for meaningful use so the onus of the whole program isn't put on one person in particular. So all of this goes through, and when you start doing meaningful use, we call this phase 1 of doing meaningful use with Chart Talk, because this is where you start, and as you move along, you'll see that your meaningful use statistics increase. And you can always check your statistics by going to the report screen and selecting meaningful use. You can break it down by clinic is what we're looking at here. And you can even select it by specific doctor. So when you attest for meaningful use, Chart Talk will automatically put your numbers in there for you. So as you see here, an up-to-date problem list. I've got 50 people in the denominator, 36 people in the numerator, which means I've got 72% of that information in there for my patient population. And the target is 80%, as indicated right here. When you go over the target percentage, these numbers will turn green to help you know that you're moving along into the meaningful use. And that when these high numbers start coming together and turning green, then it's time for your clinic to start working on phase 2 of meaningful use, which entails mostly the clinical quality measures, patient education, and clinical decision support. So we'll close out of that. Let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation. So as you see, some meaningful use measures are more important than others. We put those on the front screen of Chart Talk so that you and your staff can gather that information consistently every time. When we developed Chart Talk for meaningful use, we wanted to simplify it for our users, meaning we wanted to design it so that the workflow would walk you through doing this meaningful use. So that's why we went through the patient information, as you saw on the front screen. All of this patient information stuff is on the very front, flagged in red. So that's where you get started. Then we had a second area. So these are our 3 areas of meaningful use. The interoperability means how your software interacts with all the other software out there for healthcare. So if you have a fully certified system, you're able to give patients an electronic copy of their information. You're able to give them online access within 4 business days to their information. You can process lab orders, imaging orders, write electronic prescriptions that then do drug formulary checks, and even give you drug and drug allergy checks in real time to help you increase the quality of service you're providing for your patients. Which also leads us into the third area, which is the quality measures. And that is a new procedure for a lot of doctors out there, which includes patient education, clinical decision support, real-time alerts, and then the clinical quality measures. So we broke these into phase 1, 2, and 3 of meaningful use. Patient information is phase 1, quality measures is phase 2, and then your interoperability checks and security audits we deem into phase 3 of meaningful use. Now when you're demonstrating meaningful use and you're just jumping on board, teamwork is key. So like we saw on the front screen of Chart Talk, everyone can help participate in gathering that meaningful use information, talking to patients about alerts that come up based on different quality measures or other information in their chart. Your staff is instrumental in successfully demonstrating meaningful use, so make sure that they're involved in all the decisions and the training that it takes to become a meaningful user. So like I said, so patient information, the first third of meaningful use, is all shown on the one screen. If it's in red, you know that that's meaningful use information that's missing, and that you should talk to the patient about their medications, allergies, put in structured problem lists for the patients. A lot of new things that you'll be gathering on the patient are their race, ethnicity, and their preferred language. But if you just make this part of the clinical workflow, it won't be too difficult to bring your percentages where you need them to be in a relatively short period of time. Interoperability is another third of meaningful use. So this defines the file types that you're able to share with other providers of healthcare. So if somebody requests some information, you can take a highly coded, what's called a CCR, or a continuity of care record, export it, and then email it, encrypt it, put it on a USB drive, but you can transfer a snapshot of the patient's health record and pass it along to another provider of healthcare. This becomes very effective when you're entering patient medications or reconciling medications to make sure that everyone has a clear and concise picture of what the patient's current health condition is. One interesting thing in this information is that holds the patient's medications, allergies, problem lists, and lab results. And these are all requirements from that front screen of Chart Talk. So when you gather that information, you're increasing the percentage of the patients you're able to share information around the healthcare world with. One interesting partner that we have is Microsoft Health Vault. This is what we use to provide electronic access via the internet for the patient. So if the patient wants, they can go to Microsoft Health Vault, and with a click of a button, you can enable them to have access to their health records so that they can then manage them online and give access to different providers of health care or family members so that they can share that information. The last third of meaningful use is clinical quality measures. And this is an interesting area where ChartTalk really knocked it out of the park. So instead of requiring you to do 8 different things for meaningful use, like a different patient education, different clinical decision support, everything is wrapped in to help walk you through clinical quality measures. To start out with, so clinical decision support and patient education. Every clinic needs to implement one of each. For a clinical decision support rule, that's information based on a specific medical condition of the patient that is then used to create an alert to prompt the provider at the point of care about different options or different flags that you would like to base your decision support on. Patient education operates in a similar fashion, but it's information you want to provide the patient. So with ChartTalk, you can cue these requirements to help deliver PDF files, videos, web pages. You can use any sort of resource and media to deliver patient education or your clinical decision support. In ChartTalk, it looks like this. If you open a patient that has an active notification, you'll see this little yellow star up top. It says that this patient has an active alert. When you first open the patient, instead of seeing the synopsis screen, say this Matt Aronson, if he comes into the office and he has an active alert, you're automatically brought to the notifications tab. Any unacknowledged notifications will show up in red. So here he applies to the adult weight screening under overweight. So this is a quality measure required for meaningful use that the patient education and clinical decision support rule help walk you through. So by doing one thing in ChartTalk, you're actually doing 4 requirements of meaningful use. So if I were to talk to this patient about adult weight screening and schedule a follow-up nutritional counseling, I can hit acknowledge and acknowledge that I talked to the patient, or I can exclude them. So if this is a patient, say it's a female that's pregnant, I don't want to talk to them about being overweight. I will exclude them, and I just say 2. The pregnancy is the reason. So now they're excluded, so you'll see that the notification comes up in gray to tell me that, okay, I excluded this patient, and it'll tell you which doctor was logged in. I'm logged in as the administrator now, so it says it was signed by the administrator, and it shows the exclusion reason. So we make it very easy to demonstrate the clinical quality measures as well as a very user-friendly way to do patient education and clinical decision support. So what a clinical quality measure is an endorsed sequence of events to help you prove to payers that you're demonstrating quality, and this helps to show the payers that you're going the extra mile, and sometimes it helps you to be qualified for higher levels of reimbursement. Both the meaningful use clinical quality measures. There's also other quality measures like PQRS, which is a physician's quality reporting system, and the NCQA. So there's different bodies that endorse different quality measures, and there's different payers that endorse different quality endorsing bodies. So this is where we really nailed it. We tied the requirements for audible alerts in Chart Talk with patient education and clinical decision support, which then in turn walk you through clinical quality measures. One very interesting thing is that the new Phase 2 of meaningful use requirements for software that came out say that the new requirements require that all EHRs use their clinical decision support to walk doctors through clinical quality measures. Chart Talk already did this with Phase 1, so our users won't have to change any of their workflow habits when Phase 2 comes around. Thank you very much. That is the end of my Meaningful Use 101 presentation. We'll be continuing weekly seminars that are recorded for our Chart Talk users. They are available in our weekly Chart Talk newsletter, which you will get in your email box. And I thank you very much. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us either by email at info@mightyoakinc.com or by phone. Our phone number is 952-374-5550. Have a great day.